some Royal Rangers. They're the older group, the high school age guys, and they're not as passionate about Ranger Derby, Pinewood Derby, as the Boy Scouts call it. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get them involved, and so I've decided this next year I'm going to have them create a Pinewood Derby car with a Spire, and been looking at it. There's various programs out there, but basically I'm going to use Aspire. It's a CNC modeling software, and I'm going to load it from a template, which is this is basically just a kind of like a read-only file. And basically, once you open this thing up, you get your single-sided. The width of it's 7 inches. It's various dependence on it. The Rangers blocks of wood are 7 inches long. They're 2¼ inches or 2¼ inches wide, I believe that way, and then you can have about 1¼ inch tall this way. So that's their blocks, and then of course we went to the slots like the Boy Scouts kits are. I am using centering off the material surface and the center of the block, and so we're going to leave it at that. Basically, what I did is I just created this 2 sheets. One of them is, of course, the side view, and one of them is the bottom view of the car, which I've left you the axle so that you can kind of get an idea. But basically, what I'm going to do is have the boys design this car by simply just this block of wood right out here on the end of it is there, and then this one also. If you double click on this side over here, there's the block of wood on that. So what they're going to do is they're going to hit N for node. If you right click on this and go to node editing, and you can start putting nodes in there. So if they wanted to put a node in there, you just right click, insert a point, and let's just say we wanted to bring that down to whatever like that, and let's say they wanted to put another seat, put another point in there, and they could do that, and so on. So go all the way around the car. If they want to bring this down to this point here, and they can kind of see what they're getting on their car setup. So they want a low profile. Let's say maybe they wanted this to slope back a little bit, so we'll just do it that way. Bring this in down to here and see what we've got there. So we're still using the exact same profile, the setup, and then over here on your tool paths, we would basically create these tool paths, save this file as just a regular desktop or a whatever file, and then we could take this to the CNC machine and to work with it. So that's the side view, and then if we wanted to look at the top view, let's hit N for getting out of node editing because that little arrow's there. So jump over here on this side, and this is the top view. This is where we would get back into node editing. We would let's say we wanted to insert a little node right here and take this and make this corner right here not quite so much. Let's say we wanted to do another one here, and then we could bring this one right to like that. Do that kind of a deal, and you can go all the way around this car making all your designs. Basically, if they want whatever they want to do, they could bring the car in and do that kind. They could also design it by half and then mirror it on the other side, so if they want it to be equally. But I'll be teaching that in this class on how to do that. And then we'll go out here to the tool paths area and go down here and we'll create the tool paths and have it cut it out, and then we'll get them to. So they'll be able to draft this on on a computer, and then they will take this out and we'll put a piece of wood in there and they'll machine it. This is the standard size of the block. Probably we'll keep it simple at that and just use the existing block. And if they want to get more advanced, then we'll move the wheels out and do some more stuff with it. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And when it says this files is changed, do you want to save your change? I'm going to say no. So whenever you load up this template file again, it won't have anything. It'll be what's nice thing about the template files is you don't save them. They just basically create from scratch. And so if you want to save them, you save them as the file name. But each time you use the template, it'll come out straight. So that's kind of a nice way of doing that without having to worry about overwriting your file. So there we go. Let's get into actually making a copy of this car or modifying this car. And what I did let's go over here to File Open. and I'm going to show you this car that I worked on. And let's see here, dragster save. Let's see here, Ranger Derby car model 23. That's basically one that I had worked on and had made. We'll just say not to save that. And this is a model. I have not perfected this. I made this. I won a second place in design. I made it in like a day's time, so it was basically a very easy model to make. And anyway, I basically went out and downloaded this off the web, inserted it on there. I mirrored it as a model, and then this is, of course, what the model looks like when it's cut out. And I didn't preview that, so you would see what it looks like. Let's just go ahead and do that. Jump over here to the tool path, and let's see, do that one, do the tool path, and have it model it. So it's calculating that, figuring out all the good stuff for it, and then we'll preview it. And there it is, previewing it. We'll just go ahead and minimize that one right there. And so that, this is basically what you get. It's a piece of wood, and it models it and cuts it. If you want to put doors or windows in there, it's very simple to do that. It's kind of exciting whenever you start thinking about it, but we're not going to save that. But that will lead us into what the car is that I made, and let's get to that. All right, after I run this through the 3D miller, the CNC machine, and then I cut a block the center. I just basically mill these two pieces out of a piece of 1-inch board, and then cut them down there and put a block in the middle of it. Now I'm going to sand it down and get it run. I was going to put solid axles in here, but the GPH kits are smaller than the actual block of wood, so I don't know what they're thinking. But they need to look at their kits because they don't fit their block of wood that they're given. So I'm going to go back with putting just the nails in the slot and do it that way. So anyway, I'm going to start sanding on this thing and see what I can make out of it. Okay, after about 15 minutes of sanding, maybe 20 minutes, it's taking some pretty good shape. I will say this little tool right here is amazing. This little Milwaukee cordless hand M12 flex sander. I've been using that same sanding pad, the 80 grit. I don't know. There's been a lot of projects that were sanded with that, and then a lot of cars, and it's still going strong. They say it lasts 6 times longer than regular paper. Well, I went over that with 180 and then the 120, and so now I'm going to fill this with some of this fast dry premium spackling. We're going to try that, see how that comes out. Well, after 25 years, you finally start learning something. This is a quartz infrared little heater, and I was just wanting to speed up the drying time on my car. And so basically, I put it on there. You can buy these little Lazy Susans at Walmart for like $7-8 in the cooking section down there where they have all their pots and pans. And I've got like 4 or 5 of these for like when I do my Ranger Derbies. And then this is just a little piece of 1/4-inch plywood with screws in it. And it makes a great device for holding your car up. The little pin pricks don't seem to affect the paint as long as you don't mash it. And basically I'm just putting a little coat on the very bottom of it, and I'll turn it over here in a little bit, put another coat on it. I generally will take this outside and spray it outside and then bring it back in here to dry. So Get the best of both worlds. And there we go. All right, Purple Slurple is getting their first coat of paint cured, and get it like this. Just kind of let her go around there and cure up, and then we'll lightly sand it and put on another coat. Let this one cure up a little bit, and then we'll move on to some successfully other lighter coats. Hardest part about Ranger Derby building, Pinewood Derby cars, Ranger Derby cars, is just waiting for the paint. So might as well line you up some other projects to do. Used to do a lock-in with the boys, and they would play games, and I'd have to go run them off the games, go check your car, but I'd kind of let them, play for 20, 30 minutes and go check their car. But had a paint curing box with a little breeze that went through it with a little heated lamp, and they make really good paint curing boxes. So I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll make another one. All right, this is a paint curing box. Church basements are often very cold, or garages, so to speed up that process, I made this little box. It's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 compartments on both sides. It'll fit about 3 or 4 cars in there. It has a little drafting in there, and a little plenum that makes the air circulate all the way around the cars with a little fan. I just use a little space heater fan, and then in the very end of it, I put like a little ductwork fan, a little 4-inch ductwork fan. And between the two of them, it would rotate them, and each one of the doors has this all made out of 3/4-inch high density foam. It's very light and it's easy to make. I've got these plans in the Ranger database. If you're curious about it, you can just email me. I can send you the plans for it. But it sped up the curing of the paint considerably, and the boys could figure it out. The doors are held in by a little rubber band, and it worked good. I'll probably need to build another one of these days. It was basically 4 by 4 feet or 3 by 4 feet, something like that. All right, this is the second coat. Done a little bit of sanding on it, and I'll probably sand this coat again, and then hit it again. You've got to fill that little line in at the top. Try and get it right. There it is. Man, you just never know who will show up when you're working on Pinewood Derby cars. A buddy of mine wanted to put Midwest roofing on his Pinewood Derby car, Ranger Derby car, and I botched up my purple paint job, and so there it is, black, and it's always a process. So let's move on to the next one. Well, sometimes the paint jobs don't go up. I had paint bubbling up on me, and my purple and the black trim that I put on there did not look good to me, so I just sanded it a little bit and recoated it with 2 coats of black. Okay, Wednesday Night Rangers got the trailer set up behind the truck, and this is my portable office. A few years back, I put these lights up in here. We made some FCF knives and got grinders in here, so I don't have to mess with the mess at church. I can just pull this thing up, we can work in it, get 2 or 3 machines going, and keep all the mess in here, and keep the dangerous stuff out. So this seems to work out pretty good right now. I'm putting a little weight in cars and weighing them out and getting them weighed up and drilling them out. then drilling out whatever is part of the leftover. So, and there we go. So that's what we're doing, and having fun. All right, using the old hot metal pot. It takes about 30 minutes to get it to warm up. There's some old reclaimed telephone cable stuff, and here is my little workbench setup, and a few of my tools that I keep portable for the Ranger Derbies. Always put a towel underneath those cars. Watch those Forstner bits, they'll eat you up. Here I was making some little cannons for a pirate ship that won first place design. A buddy of mine said, hey, I need some, so I made him print them off 3 or 4 of them. And it's always fun. Using that green tape, that tape actually worked out pretty good for me. So I was pleased with that. All right, well, I was in Lowe's and that bright candy apple toolbox red came out there, and I said, man, I got to have a stripe like that. Then I thought, that tape always bleeds, so I'm going with some of that, I don't know what you call it. It's some of that green tape that's saying it won't bleed. So we'll try it out. And yeah, we'll see. Bye. All right, making a base box. Goes across the end of this, which will bring it in there, and you can set it on top of a table, and it will run the cars down the track. This is a axle bending board. Put your axle in here, put it right here. You file across it with a file like this way, and you put a little slot in there, like a little screwdriver slot in this nail, and that's your axle. Then to get that done, you put it in there and you tap it with a hammer or a pair of 9s and put a little bend in it, depending on how much bend you want. And these are just 3 other holes that are set up for the same kind of a deal, maybe a little bit different height, and whatever you want. But anyway, that'll allow you to put the wheel in there and give it a turn, and you can adjust it for the rolling. And probably ought to do this probably right before you get ready to lube, but do the car alignment with this thing, get it running straight, glue your axles in, and then get it to run straight. So there she is. All right, after having a pancake compressor that came with a couple of quarter cable guns, it's all still working some 18 years later. And so my son was needing a compressor for remodeling his house. So I thought it was time to upgrade this thing here and go with this 80% quieter. And it is, I mean, it ain't even a quarter of the noise that the other one was. So when it fired up, it'd scare you. And this one here, you don't, it's less noise than that vacuum pump over there. So anyway, I think it comes in at 60 dB, which is almost voice level. I think 57 dB is normal talking level. So anyway, it's pretty cool. It's a matter of taking it off there, putting the other one in the truck, and sending it on down the road. So there she goes. Now I'll get back to my projects.